Okay, so we are at 272 Georgia. This is in the Preservation District in Buffalo, New York, which means there are a lot of plaster moldings that are beautiful, original in these houses. Most of the houses are made out of stone or brick. This house, we don't know when it was built. There was a big fire here in this neighborhood that they took all the houses that were in the fire and put them up to date as like 1900 as far as the date that it was built, but it was built in the 1800s sometime. Go ahead. And it's beautiful inside, but it's about 6,000 square feet, so it needs a ton of work. You're going to see a lot of the raw beauty in here, but you're also going to see, you know, some stuff from the 70s, some stuff from the 60s. So we're gonna go inside and we're gonna meet Curtis and Claudine Haynes. They are the owners of the house. The front portion of the house is actually, right now it's being used as a store. It's like a corner store. But really, if it were to be restored, it would be part of the house, probably the front porch. It's about 6,000 square feet, big, huge house. Beautiful and tons of architectural detail. Okay, something that is synonymous with the Preservation District are these huge doors, big, huge pocket doors. Unfortunately, these ones are painted, but what's beautiful about it is that it still works. It's got a great track. You can see how tall the opening is. It's very grand. Another thing synonymous with Preservation District are the plaster moldings that you'll see throughout the house, and also you know, by the light fixtures, beautiful plaster moldings that are craftsmanship that we don't have anymore, we don't see in homes. To reproduce the house, it would probably be millions upon millions between the craftsmanship and the quality of material that was used to build it. That's all.
I'm Claudine Haynes, and I'm owner of the house. We're in the West Village in Buffalo, New York, and we bought this house 7 years ago.
More than that, 2005.
God, isn't that long?
Okay,
Okay,
but these are the concepts we want to hit. We want to hit that these were that we bought in this neighborhood. You know, this is your old neighborhood. You used to live here. We bought some of the worst property in the neighborhood. And since we've been owners, there's been a lot more homeowner pride in the neighborhood. It's changed. We're in the downtown area of Buffalo, New York. Those are the kinds of things we want to hit. I mean, actually, this building has changed significantly. I mean, it's completely different from when we first purchased it. But it really does need like one more major boost from our perception.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, when we first bought this house, oh man, it was horrendous. I mean, there was layers of wallpaper, and behind that wallpaper, holes in the walls, and it was layers of flooring and animal dead mice under the car, everything. So you
did a lot,
so
but there's still a lot more to do.
But there's so much to do. This is a lot of house.
Yeah.
It's a lot of house, and yeah, it's a lot of work. And the house is so beautiful, and I saw beyond all of the muck that I'm like looking at the architectural detail and the woodwork, and I'm like, this is a beautiful home.
And I would say that I didn't see that. You know, I just saw a lot of work, and we put a lot of sweat equity into this.
Yeah.
But what's really important is that this neighborhood that we're in right here is the first neighborhood of the city of Buffalo, and so the first, you know, this is the first neighborhood. And if you look at how this neighborhood is set up, this building is the flagship of this neighborhood. The neighborhood is called the West Village. And I think it would be really, really beautiful that this building, being the flagship of the neighborhood, if we were able to renovate it, it would fit well with all the major renovations that are taking place in the downtown area. Right. But our problem is that we're bootstrapping, and this probably would need a little bit more than that.
Okay. Right. But tell us about the things that need to be done in the house.
I'll let my wife tell us.
Okay.
She's got the list.
I mean, no, I'm not really. I mean, I think first and foremost, I really feel that our bathrooms and our kitchen should have been done first. But I mean, coming in here, like how I described the house, with so much work to do.
Yeah,
we had to make it livable. Like, I want a place to sleep. I mean, we had rain pouring into our bedroom. We had snow coming in. We had leaves and vines going from the outside into the inside of the house. There's still remnants of that in the attic. But I think that the kitchens and the baths, probably flooring. Definitely flooring. This kitchen is probably the most horrible, one of the most horrible places in the house, because this is the heart of the home for me, and this is where I like to spend time with family and with guests. And so I have this funky pea green paneling that pretty much encompasses the kitchen and our laundry room, as we call it, and these very dated cabinets that are falling apart, as you can probably see. Under this drop ceiling is just, there's water damage in some areas of it, especially here in the laundry room. But underneath this ceiling, which I discovered, are these beautiful but very dated tin ceilings with really beautiful molding again. All of it's dated. Of course, our appliances, everything that is really the way it was when we moved in here. And I just try to make it as homey as possible. Again, we ran out of funds renovating the other houses, and so I'm stuck with my kitchen for a while. The floors, there's actually holes in the floor underneath the area rug. That I just put an area rug right on top of. I don't know if it was damage from an animal. I think it was a dog. But the linoleum floors are really dated, and they complement the beautiful pea green paneling. The windows I would almost hate not to see done, because I just like the detail in them.
Okay. But they could.
But it's not. This is not an energy efficient home.
They can be made functional.
Yeah. It's not an energy efficient.
Is it cold? Are certain rooms really cold?
Yes. In the wintertime, yes.
It's clearly not insulated at all.
No, they didn't. I don't think they insulated
No.
during that
brick.
time period.
It's brick.
It's brick. It keeps you pretty cool in the summer.
Yeah.
But you know, the high ceilings, you know, that's to our advantage. And I think there's probably some structural, not structural, but more like wall. We didn't really finish the back end of the house.
Okay.
In terms of, we resurfaced a lot of walls in the house already.
Okay.
And this is the original floor. So we pulled up, I mean, it's just the original floor. I love it, but it's old and it's deteriorating.
Yeah.
Well, my stepdaughter, she broke the window accidentally, and this is for the last 3 years I've been plugging it up with this very old blanket that will be disposed of once we can have our window fixed. Yeah, so I think that's it. Yeah, well, we attempted, this is my son's room, we attempted to whip this room together some kind of way before he got here, and so within the last year, and he's now he'll be 5, it's puckering up, and so this was resurfaced with plaster, and it's just bubbling up here. So apparently there's some water getting in here some kind of way. And so all this was resurfaced, but you can still see some cracks are still coming through in the corner over here, as well as the ceiling. There were a few rooms, vines that were growing from the exterior of the house into the house. And this is just some of the remnants of the vines that were growing in. We just pulled them out. We pulled the vines off from the exterior of the house.
So, like, some of this, if you look at the ceilings here, it's just, that is the reason why we need to keep this and renovate this house, because you don't get this in the 21st century.
Right, you can still see the pipe up there, or the gas line. There would have been a gas lighting still, but this has never been converted to electrical.
This basement is pretty much how we got the building. Well, actually, we have cleaned out a lot. There was just a huge amount of junk in here, but we were faced with electrical problems. Some of the lights don't work. This furnace is a 1960s furnace. We've been keeping it going. You can just see some of the how the piping is wrapped, and that probably is going to have to be all redone. You had just alluded to the fact that you just saw Robert Kiyosaki's Choose to Be Rich. And in part, what motivated us to buy the property was reading Rich Dad Poor Dad in like 1999, 2000. We played the Rich Dad Poor Dad game. My wife and I and some of my students played it. And after playing that game, myself, my wife, we bought property. Some of my students bought property. Some people bought brownstones in New York City, bought property in Philadelphia, bought property in Baltimore, bought property here in Buffalo. So yeah, we were highly influenced by the concepts. And my teaching style has been influenced by what Robert Kiyosaki has had to say too also. But I also want to say is that this property, this building here, is in a triple designated historical neighborhood. It's a historical neighborhood on the city level, it's a historical neighborhood on the state level, and it's a historical neighborhood on the federal level. When we first bought this house, the roof needed major damage. That was the first thing that we did, was put a new roof on it. But there's clearly, if you look up here, all the residual water damage. This window is there's no window there. But we had pigeons and squirrels living here. But I just want to say, like, one thing that my wife had just said, you know, the house itself really deserves to be renovated, right? I mean, it's a beautiful house in a beautiful location in a beautiful city.
And a triple designation.
And I think that you know, we bootstrap this as much as we can, and we're going to continue to bootstrap it. But any help would be appreciated, and not just for us, but I think for the neighborhood, for the community, and for the city.